Hey y'all, welcome back. When I was thinking of dishes to include in the basic series, dal was on top of mind. Anybody who's familiar with Indian food definitely knows dal. Dal is basically lentils and it's made in every part, every region has their own way of making dal or lentils. And there is many different variations on it. There's thousands of varieties of dal. Today what we'll be making is tur dal, which is one of the most basic varieties. This is what it looks like. It's called pigeon pea and the other name is arhar dal. It's considered to be lighter on your system and it takes less time to cook and it's easier to digest. So you're going to want to soak these lentils for a few hours and then you're going to want to boil them and make them soft like this. These lentils have been soaked for a few hours and now they've been cooked with just turmeric and tamarind. I have pressure cooked them and you can cook them in an Instapot, you can pressure cook them, or you can do it in a regular pot. The only difference is if you're going to do it in a regular pot, you don't add the tamarind until the lentils are soft because the acidity from the tamarind will not let the lentils cook down. You can buy tamarind in a package like this in an Indian or Asian store and you can add it at the end if you're going to cook the lentils in a pot. Now let's go through the ingredients. So for the lentils, the lentils have been cooked and soft. Now what you're going to do is do what's called the tadka or the vagar. This is something you've probably heard before. Tadka is basically the blooming of the spices, whole spices mostly. So the ingredients that we're going to use, the first one is a very trendy ingredient, ghee, which is clarified butter, which is very popular right now. It has no dairy in it and which increases the smoke point. So this is going to be the fat or the base of your blooming of the spices. Then we're going to use some onions. We're going to use some garlic and we're going to use whole chilies and tomatoes. And then we are also going to use something called asafoetida. Asafoetida is this very pungent spice. It's the gum of a tree, the latex of a tree. And it's used with things that are heavy to digest. So it aids in digestion. So since lentils are supposed to be heavier on your system, this makes it easier to digest. This should last you a couple of lifetimes, which means you need a really small amount for this, but it'll be super flavorful once it's added in the right quantity. So for the tadka, you're going to need a small pot. Any small pot will do. You're going to heat it up and you're going to start with a generous amount of ghee. Don't be stingy with the ghee. So you want to do, I'm going to do a couple of scoops of ghee. And we're going to get this melty and hot. So this part moves pretty fast and you have to be careful not to burn anything. So everything needs to be pre-prepared. You're not going to be looking for garlic or trying to chop onions. Everything needs to be pre-prepared. What's cool about this recipe is at any point you can stop and it'll still be a legit full recipe. And what I mean by that is we're adding flavor in stages and at every stage you add a level of flavor. You can stop at that stage and be done with it. So watch me how little asafoetida I'm adding and then broken up whole chilies and cumin seeds. So like a teaspoon of cumin seeds. I wish you could smell this. It is so fragrant. As soon as the asafoetida hits the ghee, it's amazing. And then you see how it's browning and then your garlic goes in. So see how quickly this is moving? So you're going to wait for the garlic to brown before the onion goes in. So if I wanted to stop right now before adding the onions and be like, I don't feel like cooking anymore, this will work. So do you start seeing specks of brown? That's when your onions go in. And so, okay, it's been 3 or 4 minutes and if you look at the onions right now, they're nice and soft and they're beginning to get some color, which is what we're looking for. And then the tomatoes go in. So we're looking for the tomatoes to get soft, which will take like a minute or two. And then we will add this whole mixture into the dal or the boiled lentils. Remember, once you add this, the dal will thicken a little bit. So if you find your dal too thick and you want to thin it out, just add some liquid. If you find it too thin and runny and you want it a little bit thicker, you're just going to cook it off, which means cook it uncovered for a few minutes till it thickens up. That's pretty much it. So I would give this another 30 seconds and this will be ready. I'm going to just raise the heat to speed up the process. And this is what they mean by tadka. Every time you add whole spices to oil, fat, the flavors explode, and then you add it. So this now is ready, and now this whole thing go into this. And so for me, this is really thick. I prefer it a little bit thinner, but if you like it this thick, then just keep it this way. Okay, so now I'm gonna add some water just to thin it out a little bit, and I'm going to bring this to a boil so that the water gets combined and is not separated. You can always add vegetables to this. So if you want to make it more nutritious or make it a complete meal, you could add spinach or carrots, squashes, anything. You can do a combination of lentils. It doesn't have to be one single lentil. There's like so many variations on this, and they all taste great. It's just what you like. So this consistency is what I personally like. And so I'm going to turn this off. So here's the dish, ready and complete, tur dal with onion and garlic. This is by far one of my most favorite dishes. It's my comfort food, and I would love for you to try it. You're going to love it.